Yamcha may not be the best fighter, but he's one of the best characters. Alright, he's still up there though. He's still up there. I'm serious. I know that a common complaint against Yamcha is that he's a weak loser. Still, being strong or the strongest doesn't make you a good character. If that were the case, Jiren would be everyone's number one, which he isn't. Some of the most popular Dragon Ball characters like Bardock or Future Trunks didn't gain their popularity through sheer power, but from the strength of their story and character. Yamcha is a comedic character, and yes, he is the butt of a lot of jokes. But that butt gave something to the series that was imperative: variety. Before Yamcha came into the picture, no one was close to Goku's level. Yamcha became his first rival, now a staple of the franchise. And after more powerful characters were introduced, his fights still let Toriyama play with comedic battles with their own dynamic, without leaving the audience frustrated that a stronger character isn't taking his match seriously. So if in comedic fights Goku is Bugs Bunny, then Yamcha is Daffy Duck. Goku is always finding ways to fight his enemies, and even when it looks down, he had it all along. Yamcha scraps for his wins, and even when it bites him, it's usually his own arrogance or lack of foresight that did him in. Now that's not to say that Yamcha hasn't had serious fights. Throughout the original Dragon Ball, his first match with Tien is a standout, where you see his potential. Yamcha was the second human to master the Kamehameha, and by sight alone, which is fired straight back at him, and this happens just before his big break. Ouch. Let's get into this. Yamcha is a jobber. It's not a graceful job, although someone has to do it, demonstrating the potential of a new powerful fighter, showcasing what they can do, and getting people excited for what will come later. But even when Yamcha's beaten, he won't go down easy, most of the time. That fight with Jackie Chan was full arrogance on his part. A mistake he almost made again in the 23rd tournament, but he's wiser now. He threw out his new technique, his final finisher, the Spirit Ball, getting in a solid strike, only he was fighting a literal god who bodies him. I never said he had the best of luck, but there's more to Yamcha than just martial arts. Yamcha may have started off as a self-serious threat, but by the flutter of Bulma's eyes, we learn of his character's major flaw, as well as other quirks that make Yamcha's development for the series so compelling. His goal in life is to get married and have children, but to do this he needs to get over his fear of women, something he could do by stealing the Dragon Balls. However, Yamcha overcomes his fear in Bulma's time of need, saving her and the others from Goku's giant ape form, as well as stopping his rampage. Showing when push comes to shove, Yamcha can be, is courageous and will protect those he cares about, something that will continue throughout the whole saga. Now, Toriyama could have left his arc there. Yamcha gets the girl, he's past his fear of women, and now he's a good guy. But that would have been too simple. Yamcha and Bulma's relationship develops. It has problems, and they fight a lot. It wasn't ideal. He gains a bit of a reputation as a playboy. And in the end, it doesn't work out for him. Some of that's on Bulma. I mean, it wasn't his fault he had a fan club. He's a handsome boy. Call me Yamcha. Call me. But most of it is on him. And I appreciate that they use this relationship to explore Yamcha's duality. Being a man of an ego, but he's also a bit of a wimp when it comes to women. Something that follows him to this day. In an interview with Toriyama in 2013, he mentions that Yamcha was still uncomfortable around women, outside Bulma, despite his past wins. But this makes him all the more real. Stuff like anxiety isn't a one and done thing. Yamcha is more relatable than a lot of the other sea fighters. He's not a free-eyed prodigy. He's not from a race of super warriors, or a legendary demon. He's just a dude who spent some time in the desert, who looked up to martial artists, even wanting to win the World Martial Arts Tournament. Let's talk about this, the elephant in the room, the Cybermen. I know it's a big meme, but we need to get one thing straight. Yamcha won that match, and with ease. The only reason he went up first was to stop Krillin, who had already died once. He knew the stakes. He won the battle, but lost the war. It's not like you expect your competitor to explode. Not really a common occurrence. But Yamcha has always had a flaw of letting his guard down. It's addressed throughout the series. When he's impaled by Android 20, it's the final nail in the coffin. To me, this seems to be the reason that Yamcha retires from martial arts. His acceptance that maybe he doesn't have what it takes. But that doesn't mean he wouldn't protect those when needed. One of the best moments in the Cell arc is the point where both Tien and Yamcha team up to protect an injured Goku. It's small, but it echoes back to the bond they've shared since they were young, and still do. Yes, this moment is filler, and I know the filler in C is contentious, for good reason, but it does a great job of filling out the bits of Yamcha's character, while also being entertaining in its own right. Seeing Yamcha excel as a baseball player, might be one of the best. It's not the same as protecting the Earth, but it does pay well. And watching a sea fighter return to a normal life, it adds a new element to their character, a thing not explored with many of the others in the same way. So when he retires from baseball to train for the arrival of the Saiyans, you know he's been itching for a fight, making the outcome all the more unfortunate. But in spite of that, the filler did give Yamcha a couple more victories. On King Kai's planet, he actually got the upper hand on Piccolo of all people, getting in a nice crushing blow. And when the Ginyu Force came along, he took out Raccoon, someone that Vegeta had trouble fighting in the past. Now, the power scaling on this is questionable. I mean, maybe not as questionable as this scene, but yeah, you gotta take it with a pinch of salt. The filler also did a great job of showing Yamcha's failings. I still remember the gravity chamber scene with vivid detail. Yamcha's overconfidence is in full force. Thinking he could take on Vegeta's level, his delusions come crushing down on him as he turns on the machine, learning how far the skill gap between them really is. And there's a mini arc throughout the rest of the saga, where Yamcha goes from disrespecting, moreover not trusting Vegeta, blaming him for his failures with Bulma, to actually respecting Vegeta and getting on with him, telling Trunks in the end about how much Vegeta really cared about him.
Hell yeah, when Cell killed you, that old man of yours blew a stack worse than I've ever seen before. And for a hothead like Vegeta, that's really saying something.
He grew as a person, seeing the flaws in himself as a martial artist, and then in an act of maturity for Yamcha, decided maybe that wasn't the path he needed to take for the rest of his life. Not to say he wouldn't enjoy training as a hobby, but he wouldn't live the rest of his life as Chi-Chi would put it, a fighting bum, just getting in the way and being a liability to everyone. Just shoot the girl, Tien, shoot the girl! Of course, there could have been some fear involved too, but if that were the case, would he have came to Gohan's defense against Cell, even after his close encounter with death? He puts himself against that impossible task without a second thought. Even if he wasn't a fighter in the Buu arc, he still played an important role in protecting Bulma and the others while they were collecting the Dragon Balls, and has a final, filler, confrontation with Buu. For a long time, that was it for Yamcha. Despite never ending on top, Yamcha still became one of the world's best martial artists, who could beat any standard fighter, with a successful run as a professional baseball player, which he still has on the field, but we'll get to that in a second. He got to date Bulma in her prime. Pretty good. While struggling with anxiety, he did gain a reputation as a ladies' man, and by the end of the Cell arc, he'd even gotten another girlfriend. Now, if they stayed together, we don't really know, but I kinda wished if Toriyama had continued his run, that Yamcha could have got married and had children. It would have been the best send-off the guy could have asked for. But it doesn't end there. Yamcha's had a bit of a resurgence of late, with his focus in the spin-off manga, where a Dragon Ball fan is reborn as him. He's a playable character in the new Dragon Ball FighterZ game, and he's had a bit more of a focus in Dragon Ball Super. Although this new focus is a bit of a double-edged sword, the show's become self-referential towards Yamcha's reputation. The best and worst of this can be seen in the baseball episode, which I do love. It's a last hurrah for Yamcha in some ways, but also a self-defecating one. Yamcha wins, but only through the pain and suffering, and a callback to one of his most infamous moments. It's a match against gods, Saiyans, and other aliens, which should be a massive achievement for Yamcha, but he's still treated like a walking punchline. I stated earlier that he was the butt of jokes, but he also walked that fine line between a joke and a character. Super pushes him off the tightrope right into a pit of flanderization. Now, despite his downward luck, Yamcha has always took it on the chin. He never let it get to him. He was quick to forgive and forget, and it's humbling to see someone so confident and in high spirits, despite everything that's happened to him. Yes, he's got women trouble, he's made a lot of stupid mistakes, and he can be downright embarrassing. But who isn't? Not everyone is going to breeze through life like Goku. Yamcha is the everyman of Dragon Ball. He shows if things don't go your way, you should still preserve and make those difficult decisions in life, because somewhere down the line, it can pay off. And that's why Yamcha is a good character. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, you can like it, you can subscribe. I have possibly another Dragon Ball video coming soon. Maybe some more, we'll see. This is a bit of a spur of the moment video. And while I was doing my research, I saw this Flip Anime piece that was pretty great on Yamcha, focusing on the baseball episode. So if you wanted to hear more about the baseball episode, I'd say check it out. I didn't really want to touch on it too much because it was more like a cliff note in the case I'm trying to make here. So I'm kind of curious to see what people think about this, because I know how much hate there is for Yamcha in the community, but also maybe some sort of admiration in how terrible he has failed in the past. Anyway, I'll catch you next time.